Good morning. Welcome. This site is called Take What Rings True. So, the whole idea is if you believe something I say, that's fine. If you don't believe something I say, let it go. You don't have to believe it at all. So, my name is Teresa Micheletti, and today I want to talk about hauntings. So, ghosts, it's just been Halloween. Ghosts are earthbound people who are dead and are still on Earth. So they're called earthbound. Usually, these ghosts are stuck in time and they can be cranky. People who have ghosts in their house or their restaurant or their workplace or on their property may describe hearing footsteps, feeling cold spots, and they can be like freezing cold spots. They can have items moving, even like in midair. They could hear unusual noises. And sometimes they can see a ghost face or the whole ghost. It's foggy, not solid, but um, a being of some kind that's shouldn't be there. So for ghosts, all time has stopped, and those ghosts think that you are on their property. You are in their restaurant. You are in their house. And why are you? Because all time has stopped. They are often looking for their loved ones or their friend. Or I told you a story a while ago about a former Sunday school student who had died and was trying to connect with his children. He wanted to make sure his children were taken care of. He's totally focused on his children. And he couldn't communicate with them. He couldn't communicate with his wife. Although luckily his sister is a bit psychic and knew that he had not made it all the way over to the other side. He'd made it to the tunnel, saw somebody in the tunnel he knew, but he wanted to take care of his kids. It's like he's got to take care of his kids. So he was focused on that, but all time stops. So he doesn't know it's been 2 weeks and that he's not really alive anymore. So ghosts can be very focused and very concerned about something. And often, if you saw the movie Sixth Sense, the therapist died and didn't realize he was dead. And often, there's the movie Ghost too, Ghost, but he realized he was dead. He was just trying to take care of business for his wife and protect her and find out who had killed him. But for most ghosts, just time has stopped and they don't understand what's going on. They're confused. So you can explain to your ghost calmly that they're dead and they can be at peace by going to the light that forms from them. They can be with their loved ones. Their loved ones, their friends are waiting for them and they'll find relief on the other side. Pain will be gone. Often ghosts are here because they had a traumatic illness or a traumatic death, or maybe they were mentally ill and they're just still confused. Ghosts don't understand why you are around in their space. And so they get cranky. It's like, why are you here? They also get cranky because nobody's answering them. They're trying to talk to loved ones or talk to someone, or like, why are you here? And no one can understand them. If a psychic talks to them, that doesn't mean they're not cranky. The Toys R Us ghost in Silicon Valley could communicate with psychics, but they did not believe that they were dead. This specific ghost had died, I think, from like a saw or something had cut him, and he'd bled out. And he loved the farmer's daughter or the rancher's daughter. I don't remember if it's a ranch, a farm, whatever it was. Anyway, he loved her and he was trying to find her. And of course, she had died a couple of centuries before. So he couldn't find her. But Toys R Us built a building on top of the property where he considered it his domain. And sometimes when kids or people would go through the store, all of a sudden toys would fall off the shelf because he would push him off. It's like, what are you doing in my space? So he was a cranky ghost. And no, they didn't convince him to go to the other side. Perhaps now, by now, the spirit guides or spirits from the other side have escorted him over. So sometimes people will not go to the other side because they don't think that they're worthy, or they think that they will not be forgiven. My belief is creator, God, source is all loving and knows we come to earth and knows we make mistakes, and that they could be forgiven. So talk to them, and if you know that that's the reason, and tell them that they would be forgiven and to just go through the tunnel. They'll have a better understanding of what happened to them and those around them when they go through the tunnel. And I was a ghost in one life. I was a ghost when I was consumed with grief. And I've told this story before. It was Cambodia or Vietnam, and I was in a high social family, and I was in love with this poor guy. I mean, poor, not wealthy. And I got pregnant. So they locked me up and kept me in a room until I gave birth, and then said they were going to give the baby to a deserving family. Well, when I was much older, I don't know, 50, maybe, whatever, I said I was going to go find my child. I wanted to see my child. Well, they told me, well, your child's not alive. We dumped him in the field over there. So I found the skeleton of the child, and I was just consumed with grief for centuries. I was in horrendous grief, and nobody was going to convince me to go to the other side. So after centuries, finally, angels helped me realize my child was alive in another time, in another life, now, in that point, and that I could go to the other side because my child was okay. So finally, my ghost was able to go to the light and be reintegrated with my higher spirit. So you might see your spirit guide or other spirits float about 3 feet above the ground because they're on a different vibration, different frequency, and it seems like they're floating because heaven or the other side is only 3 feet above us. But a ghost is at our level, our earth level. So if you're trying to figure out, is this a spirit or a ghost that I'm seeing? If it's a ghost, they're on earth level. If they're a spirit, they're 3 feet above earth level. So back to my Sunday school student. He was distraught. And what happened was we got a group of people together on the telephone, and what do you call those calls? Conference calls, and talked him over, and had our friend Sylvia come and get him and convince him, because he said he couldn't find the Hall of Orientation. He couldn't find, he was just distraught because of his children, and wanted to connect with them. So calming him down, having him escorted, just having someone he knew come and meet him that he trusted, he was able to go to the other side. And I have seen him because I can channel, and I have seen him. He is going to have a special mission when we transition to the fifth dimension. He's going to help people. So from the other side, he's helping us still. So remember, all time stops when you die. And a ghost is confused usually. Say they died in the 1700s or 1700s specifically. They think it's still 1700 because all time stops. So they may be looking for their loved ones or their friends who really died centuries ago. So sometimes if you can explain that to a ghost, then they will transition. So the tunnel forms from them, and they can just go into the light. So consider ghosts confused or afraid, and calmly ask them to go to the light. You can be the rescuer. Eventually, spirits will come from the other side to help them. But since all time is now, then what we consider in a while spirits will come help them, it to us will seem longer than to the people on the other side or to the spirits that are ghosts. So, ghosts haunt locations because that's where they're from, that's where they worked, that's where they died. So, say they died at a restaurant that they worked at, well, they may haunt that restaurant. The Blue Lady, the ghost in, I think it's not Moss Landing, the coast of California, central coast of California, between Monterey and San Francisco. There is a restaurant and there's a blue lady. She's dressed in blue that people see sometimes. And she does things at the restaurant. She'll float silverware across the space in the restaurant. She'll move things. She'll make noises. Well, it was a she loved this guy, and this guy was with another woman, and I don't remember how she died, but it doesn't really matter. But she's still trying to connect with those people, and she can't connect with them because they're dead and they've gone. But she still believes that she can do that. So she's still there, but she will be rescued. So hauntings are really just ghosts who are confused, don't realize that time has changed, and are still trying to do something or connect with someone in the location that you see them or hear them or find them. They're not trying to be mean. They're just trying to continue their life because they don't know they're dead. And if they've been in a trauma or they've been mentally ill or they're just confused, then it will take a while for them to get to the other side. But you can be the one who does that. You can be the rescuer. So often you can just tell them to go to the light, that they are not alive anymore, and that their loved ones or friends are waiting for them on the other side. And if they believe that they're not worthy, then tell them. I believe that God is all loving and God will accept them. God knows that you make mistakes on earth and it's okay. He will welcome you. That's my belief. So, hauntings. Hauntings are just ghosts who happen to be where they are in that place because they've had a life there and because they don't realize that they can go to the other side. So, be what do you call those? Ghost whisperer. You can be a ghost whisperer. And you can even join paranormal organizations and help people go to houses that are haunted and release the ghosts. Find the ghosts. Maybe you just want to do that. Find the cold spots. Find the center of where they there's always a heart space uh, where the in the house and on the property, whatever, where the ghosts like start out, hang out, which is why it's cold, and then they wander in the property, wander in the place. Sometimes people see them coming downstairs or coming from an attic or coming through a wall because in their time period, there was no wall there. So don't be afraid of ghosts. They're just confused, usually, or they feel unworthy, or they don't believe that the other side would accept them, but they will. So you can always call a ghost whisperer, or you can try to talk them over yourself. Don't be afraid of them. They just think that this is their property, their place of business, their car, their workspace, their restaurant, whatever it is. So be kind to those ghosts and be calm because they don't realize that all time has stopped. So your time has not stopped, And next Wednesday at 10 a.m. Pacific time, you can join me again. Thank you for being with me, and thank you for connecting. So, hope to see you next Wednesday, 10 a.m. Pacific time. Same place, same station. So, Facebook or YouTube. All right. Bye. Thank you.